Hello and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be talking about 10 entry-level jobs in sustainability that you can apply for today. At the end of the video, we'll be talking about my favorite job board in sustainability to find all of these jobs that are available for you. With each job, I'll give a brief description of the role, the credentials that you need to apply, although most will be for entry-level positions, and a few examples of some places that are hiring for those specific roles. If that sounds interesting to you, grab your notebook and let's get into it. If you're new here, my name is Maddie and I'm an energy consultant. I graduated from the University of Maryland in 2022 with a bachelor's degree in environmental science and policy, and my concentration was in biodiversity. I created this channel to share with you the things I've learned throughout my college experience and throughout the first 2 years being a young professional in the Washington, D.C. area. And the 10 jobs that we'll be looking at today are all jobs that I was looking into my senior year of college and as a fresh graduate when I wanted to enter into the field and the workforce in sustainability. These are all roles that have entry-level positions, but I will also note that they have opportunities for growth, so you won't be just stuck at that one entry-level position for the next 10 years of your life. So let's get started. The first job on our list is an environmental scientist. Who's surprised? This is the most commonly pursued position in the field, I would say, because you have so many undergraduate programs with the environmental science title. But the job of being an environmental scientist involves a mix of project planning in the office setting as well as some field work to assess different environmental impacts based on where your geography is and what your biome is. Now, your credentials for this one is a bachelor's degree, at least in environmental science or in a related field, and optional to have a master's degree in environmental science or a related field. That said, if you want to get an environmental scientist job right after graduating your undergraduate degree, you will find plenty of positions. Right into our next job, we have the environmental planner, which is a little similar to the environmental scientist, except without that field work. This job position involves researching and solving different environmental concerns for a variety of projects, and a lot of what you're doing is researching and ensuring compliance with a lot of environmental policies and standards. Some examples would be the Endangered Species Act and the National Environmental Policy Act, or NEPA. Now, your credentials for this would be a bachelor's degree in environmental policy or public policy or even environmental studies or a related field of some sort. Common employers of environmental planners tend to be local and state governments so that they are ensuring different stakeholders are meeting those compliance standards. Okay, our third entry-level job is the environmental health specialist. This is a more specialized role, hence the name of the job title, but compared to the first two jobs that we just talked about, it does require a little more technical expertise. Environmental health specialists are really focused on how business operations and work environments are impacting its employees' health and the health of the general public. Job descriptions for this role are typically looking for a bachelor's of science in biology or physiology, since they do require that extra level of hard sciences. The work will also involve some hands-on research and field work to analyze how the pollution and different outputs of that business are impacting human health. All right, so our fourth entry-level job is the wildlife biologist, which is another pretty popular position following your undergraduate degree. Wildlife biologists typically are conducting wildlife assessments for commercial and industrial projects, especially when those projects are encroaching on previously untouched parts of nature, and they're really looking into the impacts of air, water, and noise pollution on that specified area that the company is going to be building on and near. These roles typically require a bachelor's of science in wildlife biology or a related field like biology or animal studies, and many roles do encourage master's degrees as well. All right, our fifth entry-level job is the natural resources specialist, and this role is great for anyone who is graduating with a high school diploma, who isn't really interested in attending college and wants to get right into the workforce. The natural resources specialist position provides direct access to specific scientific areas so that you can better understand what goes into managing natural resources. This is also a great option if you're planning on taking a gap year because you're not quite sure what specialty you want to go into within environmental science. So in this role, you can kind of sample what those different areas would be. The credentials for this one is simply a high school diploma, though if you do have a bachelor's degree, you can also certainly get a job with that as well. Forgive the change in lighting, I did have to readjust the setup because my phone died. We're gonna get right back into it and continue on with our list of 10 entry-level jobs in sustainability. So we are on our 6th entry-level job, which is a field technician. Now this field technician position does have a few misconceptions along with it. A lot of people do think it's just data entry, but it does involve a lot of technical expertise related to environmental science, biology, and chemistry. A lot of what you're doing is going out to the field and collecting samples or taking samples from people who were out in the field and then taking those back to the lab and doing analysis on them. A lot of that is chemical analysis. Most of these roles are really only accepting new grads who got their bachelor's of science in biology, chemistry, or even physics, as it is a very technical role, and they like to see someone who has a lot of experience in the lab during their undergraduate degree, definitely took at least a few lab courses, and perhaps even interned or did research experience with a professor in a lab. A lot of these roles will be associated with universities who are doing those research projects, or even federal government agencies who tend to do larger scale projects. Our 7th entry-level job in sustainability is the clean energy analyst. With the increase in solar projects and incentives from utilities, there are a lot of opportunities for data analysts in clean energy roles. Most companies hiring for these roles will be private large corporations or larger consulting firms, and you'll work a lot on teams and working with other folks within the industry to essentially do your data analysis and then provide reports and visualizations for your clients related to those different renewable energy projects that you're working on. To get a job in this, your credentials would be at least an undergraduate degree with some form of education in data analysis. So this could really be from any number of majors, whether that's information science, environmental policy, or public policy major that does have a data analysis or statistics course. Even engineering majors will do a really great job in this role as a clean energy analyst, as they have all of the technical background that they need to communicate with those industry leaders. Our next entry-level job is the air quality consultant, and this is another job with a lot of prospects out there, especially as unfortunately air quality is degrading in a lot of areas, and many businesses and organizations are hiring air quality consultants to make sure that they are complying with the regulations around emissions and air quality in their area. This role is pretty similar to our environmental planner role that we discussed earlier in the video, except you're focusing specifically on policies and regulations related to air quality. You'll be doing a lot of work with businesses and making sure that their operations are fully compliant with the emissions regulations and standards in their locality and their state. For this job, you'll want to look for undergraduate programs in environmental science that have a specific focus on air quality or air pollution. Not all colleges offer this, so if not, you might want to seek out a professor or a research project that does focus on that to gain that relevant experience. But the recommended education for this would be your bachelor's degree in environmental science or a related field. All right, and that brings us to our final entry-level job in sustainability, and that would be the environmental engineer. Now, this is another really popular one that folks tend to go for, and that's largely because you can find environmental engineers in nearly any industry in this country. And again, you'll see a pattern here. You're doing a lot of compliance work and making sure that businesses and other organizations are complying with environmental regulations in their locality. However, environmental engineering jobs do tend to be a lot more technical than your other positions that do this kind of work, and often you'll be going on site and doing field work and working with folks on the ground to take samples and then bring them back to the lab. Now, there are a number of jobs available for these folks, but most environmental engineering jobs, if not all, require a minimum of a bachelor's degree in engineering or environmental engineering if possible. A lot of colleges offer a civil and environmental program that is combined, and that is just fine. But again, the experience that you seek out prior to graduating will really help inform the hiring managers as to what kind of projects you're interested in. So hopefully these 10 entry-level jobs sound somewhat interesting to you and help give you an idea about what kind of jobs you can apply for as you start to think about your postgraduate life. Rather than just searching for these jobs blindly on Google, I do have a recommendation recommendation to help you narrow down your search. I know that searching on LinkedIn or Indeed with any one of these job titles can be incredibly daunting, and you'll often see hundreds, if not thousands, of applicants for a single position. My favorite place to look for environmental jobs is the Conservation Job Board. Now, hopefully your mentors throughout college have already made you hip to this website, but if not, please go check it out. I'll link it in the description below. It is updated very frequently. I don't know the exact timeline, but it has new jobs nearly every day, and you can search for jobs by geography, but also in different categories of environmental science. You can look specifically for jobs in ecology or in botany or in forestry. Whatever your specific interest is, you can look for jobs specific to that. They have some really cool jobs on here that I haven't been able to find just from a general search on the other main platforms. So they essentially provide the job description, the salary, the deadline to apply if there is one, and a link for how to apply to the actual job. If you haven't checked out this job board, please go check it out if you're interested in applying to jobs at this stage in your life. And good luck with applying. If you have any questions about the application process as you are wrapping up your undergrad degree and are starting to look at those entry-level jobs, please feel free to leave a comment or email me. I'll put my email in the description as well. I went through this process just 2 years ago, and I'd love to share what I learned with you and answer your specific questions. I know the job market can be incredibly daunting as you're graduating, and so take advantage of any help and advice you can get. All right, folks, I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please support the channel by subscribing, giving the video a thumbs up, and leaving a comment if you feel so inclined, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye!